I can just go right there. Ralph Russo, Associated Press, joins us now. SicEm 365 Radio, 365 Sports. Ralph, thanks for hopping on the show today. We've had you on several times. What is your mindset now covering this game after yet again another summer of craziness in college football?
Yeah, it has been 3 pretty wild years, starting with the COVID year. Last year was sort of like the year of the Supreme Court and NIL decision, and now we've got just another round of realignment, television rights deals. I guess what I kind of feel like is I find myself not writing that much about players and coaches anymore, but more about policy and law and antitrust law and television value and things along those lines, which, it's an important part of the sport, and it certainly makes things interesting. I certainly don't mind covering those issues, but they really have overwhelmed the on-the-field stuff for the last couple of years. And frankly, that's a little disappointing. But once we get into the season, it definitely, we're able to shift it more toward the on the field. Not completely. There's still a lot of issues going on, but more toward on the field.
Where do you see the tide going now that we know mostly what the Big Ten TV deal is going to be? I guess the only thing we haven't really heard is what the streaming part is, and how Notre Dame's kind of thrilled about that deal because it's good for them no matter what they do. Where do you think the tide is turning as far as realignment goes?
Yeah, I mean, I think the piece that needs to be sorted out is more quickly is Pac-12, Big 12, right? Like what's going on, and they're related insofar as I think the Pac-12 teams have to figure out, like, do we want to move forward together? I think that's their number one preference, but there's a lot of reasons why that could fall apart. And all of a sudden that they're kind of looking at each other thinking, first of all, the Big Ten could go shopping again. It does not feel like that is imminent. I can't stress this enough. Like, I don't think there is any sort of urgency within the Big Ten offices to get bigger sooner. But I also think that there is real deliberation here and real okay, what kind of value is left on the board beyond Notre Dame? And I think because it's not obvious value, it sort of decreases the lack of urgency here, but it does sort of linger over everything like a cloud. And I think for the SEC, there's sort of this well, if the Big Ten moves, do we have to move? We're really not looking to make a move. So there's sort of these dark clouds on the horizon, but nothing really imminent. And if you take away that, it's sort of okay, Pac-12, what do you want to do? You want to hang together, or you think you're going to fall apart here, and that provides an opening for the Big 12. And I don't think we're going to know anything exactly on the Pac-12 maybe for another couple of months as they sort of move out of their exclusive window negotiating their TV contract with ESPN and maybe shop around a little bit. So I guess, and not to be long-winded, there is an option here where ESPN gives them just the right number that they want and they scoop it up.
Hey, it's a complicated topic. I mean, there's not really a short way to answer it, but I do have this question about kind of the higher parts of leadership in universities. Ralph, I'm sure you saw the news about Oregon's president moving over to Northwestern, and I saw all the reaction of oh my gosh, what does that mean really anything when it comes to the college athletics part of this?
I mean, so you have to understand the presidents do hold a lot of sway, and that's a president, an Oregon president, Michael Schill, I believe his name was Schill, who is very involved in athletics. He's on NCAA boards and college football playoff oversight stuff. So that's a president who has a role in athletics, and then you sort of extrapolate that out to the idea that when conferences decide on teams to take or schools to invite, the presidents have a lot of say in that. So I think you start drawing these conclusions, but probably jumping to conclusions that it means something. I saw my colleagues sort of doing the same thing, and I was tempted to tweet, I don't know what this means, but here's something. Like, because I don't know if we really know what it means, but like, there's clearly, you could sort of start like connecting dots, right? If you really wanted to.
I would say at the very least, Oregon would have some support on the board, and that's where I would, of the presidents in the Big Ten, if it comes to that. But that's the last thing I think I could even safely assume.
Yeah, and the way it's been described to me is like, I think that again, there's a value calculation here going on with all these other schools, and they've already done a lot of work on Oregon and Washington and Stanford, and just like they've done their homework. Let's put it that way. And I think they sort of understand sort of what's on the board, and then it's a matter of like evaluating how does it help us? So again, does it help to have an advocate in the room? It might, but it's hard to really tell now. It definitely was one of those moments where like, I don't know what this means, but it seems very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. That was exactly my reaction to it. Is like, I don't know, but hey, let's see if it does matter. We'll figure it out as we go. But
right.
Ralph, the college football